On the show this week, we're headed to Kansas coyote hunting with my good buddy Ryan Muller. Ryan's a professional three-gun shooter for Stoeger, and he's been inviting us up for a while to come coyote hunt on his family ranch. So this week is Coyotes from Kansas.
You know, this hunt is starting out, and it kind of came together like hunting really should. And that's just a couple friends getting together. I happen to have some property with a lot of coyotes. Terry happens to make some great calls. We kind of got to talking last year NRA show and got this together. And I said, hey, you know, if you get a free weekend, come down and we'll do some hunting, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Ryan's got a really cool setup here. He and his brother built a log cabin out in the middle of their ranch. Built it out of telephone poles.
So the idea behind this was it started out as a shack. We're going to build something.
This is on your family ranch, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And we're going to build something. When you got done with it, you just burn it down and you didn't mess up any land. And Dad kind of said, no, we're going to do one. We're going to do it right. And it just so happened that the refinery in town was putting in them big cement poles. And so we stopped by and said, hey, what are you going to do with all these telephone poles? We didn't have them. And we're hauling. We started at daylight the next day. We're hauling, and it's just a small, like 20, 30 of them, you know, that we're going to use. And we started noticing the pile's not getting any smaller. And I see wheel loader tracks. They're adding to it, and we hauled 77 that day. So that's what we used to make everything. We didn't really have plans. We poured a pad. We did all that, just the three of us. That was some work, trying to pour 16 yards in one time by yourself, but just kind of took off, and now it's got central heat and air, and it will not have a microwave or a TV. That's my rules.
This is about the middle of December. Actually, it's about the weekend before Christmas. That's an excellent time to hunt predators. In fact, it's one of the better times to hunt predators. It's cold. Coyotes are not breeding yet. They usually start breeding in March, and that kind of changes the dynamics of hunting them. It was right after a full moon, so you know how it is after a full moon. Every day the moon comes up about an hour later, but the moon was coming up, you know, 9, 10 o'clock when we were there, and with that snow on the ground, you could walk out at night, and it was just like being out there in the daytime. So that's a big factor in hunting predators, because coyotes would prefer to be nocturnal. And if they can see when it's that bright, they're gonna do most of their activity at night. That's gonna limit your daytime hunting.
In my regular day job, what I actually do is professional shooting, competitive shooting, and that focuses mainly on three-gun, and I shoot for Stoeger.
Shoot ready. Stand by.
So something that's going to be very new for me is hunting coyotes with a shotgun. We're in southeast Kansas. The fields tend to be a little bit open. It's hard to get the coyotes in close. And you know, I'm used to reaching out and touching some stuff with a rifle. So what's surprising is Terry shows up with a shotgun. He's got an M35 Hunter. He's got a special MOJO choke in it that's pretty tight and apparently works pretty well and has worked for him in the past. It's something completely different. You know, we don't want to just get the coyotes in and take them out of the area. He wants to get them in close. He wants to get them into the call, and really that's exciting. It's fun to see them come in like that, because once they're focused on that decoy, they're just laser beam and they're on it.
Y'all know my game. I'm not just calling coyotes, I'm calling them up close, shooting them in the face with my Stoeger Predator gun. It's just what we like to do. Nothing wrong with doing it the other way. That's just what we do. Ryan's a three-gun shooter. He's gonna be our backup rifleman. And one of the better things about Ryan is he's a really good cook. He made us some homemade chicken noodles while we were there. Delicious. Okay, after dinner, first night, let's get to bed early, get up early. We're gonna start coyote hunting in the morning. All right, first morning we wake up before daylight. It's come a little snow, ground covered with snow. It's about 4 degrees, northwest wind blowing about 10 miles an hour. Got a wind chill of -10. That's pretty cold for a Louisiana guy.
So whenever I invited these guys out and they came and, you know, we're getting set up and we're getting ready for that first day, I really didn't know what to expect. you add a lot of things that I'm not used to. I'm used to going out in the woods, covered in camo from head to toe, blending into the trees, and when you add another person to that, it gets harder. And then when you add another person that's got to have a camera and try to get this on film, it makes it really difficult. You know, it's not just that we're hunting, we actually have to capture this and get it out to you guys. So when we got to that first setup, I really didn't know what to expect. On this first setup, Terry seems to have a routine that he goes through. And what he does is he looks back, he makes sure that everybody's ready, and then he flips that call on. Because once he flips the call on, as I would later find out, it's on, and those animals will show up anytime.
When you're predator calling and you call something in and you shoot at it, whether you kill it or not, don't quit calling right at that moment. Go to that coyote, play it for a minute or two, and then go back to your wounded prey sound. This is why. We can't shoot him, so just film him. We can't shoot him. You see that bobcat? So we filmed it for a while, not shooting them because it's not bobcat season in Kansas. Film that bobcat for a little bit. Look over to the left, there's a second bobcat. So we filmed it for a while, but lucky for the bobcats, we couldn't shoot them.
As luck would have it, we sit down within 20, 30 seconds. We're covered up in a coyote within 15, 20 yards of us, and bobcats are coming in. And so that was kind of an eye-opener for me, and it was a good time. It was fun. I mean, I'm having a blast anyway, just come in the woods, but it was definitely something that I didn't expect, but pretty cool at the same time.
1 degree last night is a little bit crunchy. I don't like that part of it, but a little dab of wind out of the north, not bad for this part of the world. So clear blue sky, pretty perfect morning for calling. First setup, we came right in here behind Ryan's house, not too far. Called 1 coyote and 2 bobcats in, so good first start. Ryan, let's go do another one.
One down.
One down, let's go do another one. You've heard my saying before, predator calling is kind of like fishing. The fish is always in the lake, but they're not always biting. When they biting, you better be throwing your lure. So for us, we better go on, keep throwing our lure. Well, we made 2 more stands, but we didn't call anything. I was real curious to see what the bright moon with the snow on the ground was going to do for us during the night. And I think the result was they hunted when the moon was up. You maybe catch them for the first hour or so after daylight. After that, they probably bedded up. My experience is once they bed down like that, it's very, very hard to get them to get up, come to your call. So we're going to take a lunch break. We'll be back after them this afternoon. The moon's coming up later. Maybe we'll get some late afternoon activity.
Terry really puts it a good way. He said, you know, there's always fish in the lake. It's just sometimes they bite and sometimes they don't. So we're still out hunting. We're doing good. We're going to hit some more places this afternoon and kind of see what it turns into.
Well, it's early afternoon. You can see from the snow it hadn't warmed up a whole lot, but it had warmed up some.
We're getting a little bit of melt.
Yeah, it was down around 0 when we started this morning. Now it's up around 10, so it's getting warmer. Okay, for the afternoon, it remains real cold. The wind has died down considerably since the morning. It's about 5 or 6 miles an hour. I find the cold to be really important in predator hunting because the colder it is, the more the predator has to eat. The more he has to eat, the longer he has to hunt. So cold weather is ideal for predator calling. Should be a perfect afternoon for calling. cow, he ain't coming. All right. We didn't call too long till we called one coyote, but he didn't come in very close, so Ryan's our backup rifleman. He kills it. Might as well kill him if he can. He ain't coming. All right. You know, this is kind of a perfect setup. We're just surrounded by heavy brush. And we got us an opening in the middle. Wind blowing right where we, park downwind, walk into the wind, walk in here, sit down. We got the sun pretty good shape on us to the left over here, so makes a pretty good setup, That's like a big coyote.
Kind of a lighter color. It could have been maybe the sun shining on him too, but
it might have been. I don't know. He just looked pretty big from what I could see here. I could only see his head before we trotted up there where you shot him.
If he was actually as far away as I'm going to have to claim he was, he would be big.
Yeah.
I think he's closer to 100, like you said.
I looked down there. I think he's a little over 100, but I don't think he's no 450. But let's walk down there and get him.
Yeah.
Let me unload my gun.
All right,
Jared, bring your camera around here. Let's talk about that for a minute.
I think you just lost your.
Did he take
it? That?
Yep, he just took it.
That hawk just took your decoy.
That ain't right. We sitting right here talking about what happened, and I turned the collar off and turned the decoy off on it, and we sitting here doing the darn hawk swooped down and picked our topper up and left with it. And now I don't have a topper. I'm going to have to take off to Cabela's or somewhere, get a topper. Actually, that could never happen to me. I have a Ziploc bag full of toppers somewhere. If I can just find them. As unusual as you think that is not the first time this has happened to us. That's why you always take a spare decoy or a spare topper or whatever with you, because you never know what's going to leave with the one you're hunting with. I thought he got my topper, but look, he just got the furry part of it. I guess he didn't want the speedometer cable part of it. It probably don't eat all that well. So I was bragging about having another one in the truck. I hope it turned out to be right. It is a pretty big cow. Well furred too. Male. Yeah, the little female's going.
Size little male.
Well furred. Boy, sun was shining on him pretty, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We really couldn't figure out why that coyote didn't come all the way to the collar. However, I just changed from a rabbit to a coyote. See if I could prompt something. I thought maybe that coyote, he might have just stopped and looked at it, but then he started drifting off. Went down and pick it up. There's why he didn't come in. See the truck shining through there? We couldn't really understand why this coyote hung up and wouldn't come in, but Ryan made an excellent shot on him. When we go down to recovery and we look back, we can see, you can barely see the truck through that timber. My experience has been, if they see that truck, the gig's over. We went over to one of Ryan's neighbor's ranches. He'd been reporting a lot of coyotes in his cow pasture. Went down in the pasture, found a place pretty wooded, place where two big draws come together, little opening between the two draws. We set up there. We're pretty sure the coyote would come if he came from coming in front of us, but you never know how it's going to work out.
And I can kind of see to my left, I can see behind Terry, and I see a coyote at 8 yards. I mean, it looks, especially when he's still standing up, it looks like he's right there. And I'm thinking Terry's not gonna see him. And all of a sudden, he just grabs that shotgun, whips it up, and lays him out.
As we said, when you kill one, keep on calling. So we call for a few more minutes. Here comes a second coyote.
So anytime a shotgun goes off in the middle of the woods, you kind of think that the game might be going to run away, but same path, 8 yards, another coyote comes right down. It walks past the dead one, but he doesn't even notice. He's focused on that decoy. And he lets him actually get a little bit closer to the call. He got so close that when he shot him, he falls over onto our GoPro that was trying to film the caller.
I decided to let that second one go a little further, but once he got behind that bush, I could just barely shoot him.
I saw him kind of get a little spooked, and I started hopping on the rifle like, because I thought you were looking right at that bush. I didn't know which way he was going.
Well, I had to wait till he come out this side, see?
Yeah.
I could just barely see that topper through that bush. It's kind of a bad setup, but probably should have sat right over there.
I thought it worked out pretty good.
It did, yeah. It did.
Died on the GoPro.
Okay, we got 4 coyotes down today. That's a pretty good day of coyote calling. We got time for one more stand. So I was real optimistic about our last stand. We were going to call right to the last light. You would think with the moon coming up later and later each night that maybe we'd get some activity right before dark. Didn't happen. So we head back to the cabin. Ryan's cooking again tonight, the night's steak night. Up before daylight, second morning of a 2-day hunt. It's even colder than the day before. It's like 2 degrees. But at least we don't have the wind blowing with that real low wind chill, because yesterday was brutal. Okay, what wind we have is blowing from the opposite direction of what it was on day 1. So Ryan says we can leave and walk from the cabin, and we'd be over in the vicinity of our first stand of the day before. Get around to that vicinity, put the caller out, sit down, get ready to call. No remote. Apparently I've left the remote back at the cabin. So Ryan, he takes off, runs, get the remote as fast as he can, comes back. We call for about 20 minutes or so, which is about as long as I call on most stands. Nothing. So back toward the cabin we go. Well, we go on to make 2 more stands that morning. You know, one of them in a real wooded area, one of them in a cow pasture, good looking country, but we didn't call anything. So taking a clue from what happened to us the day before, I think they're up in the night. They might be up slightly after daylight. After that, I think they're bedding up. So we're gonna go back to the cabin, get some lunch. Maybe we'll have better luck in the afternoon. Well, we got time for one more stand, so we're just kind of driving around looking for a good place to set up. We found a place that looked like it would be great, a timbered bottom. We fall off the hill, we get down close to the bottom, we start calling. Wasn't but a few minutes, here come a big old coyote kind of coming our way, but all of a sudden he starts acting nervous. And then he starts detouring around us. I couldn't quite figure out what it was, so we took a shot at him from a long way off with the shotgun, but he was just too far for the shotgun, and Ryan couldn't get to him with a rifle because he was on the right and the coyote was on the left, so we let that coyote get away from us. But when we walked over to where the coyote was, we could see what the problem was. From up on the hill where he came from, he could see the truck again. So if they can see that truck, you're just not going to call them in very close. It was a great hunt. The first day we killed 4 coyotes. The second day we didn't kill any, but if we'd have kept our truck hid, we'd have killed. You know, we'd have killed a coyote, it'd been 5. But Ryan is a great host, great guy, good cook, obviously a very good shooter. You ought to check him out. He's Ryan Muller, pro 3-gun shooter. Check him out on the web. That's about all the time we got for today. For all of us at Mojo, I'm Terry Denman. God bless you. We'll see you again next week.
All hunts seen on Mojo TV are fair chase.